Good morning, guys, wherever you are. Vern. Today we're going to walk to the Church of St. John. This isn't just any St. John church. This is the Church of St. John in the city of Ephesus. Let's check it out.
Hey, Vern.
I'm in Ephesus now, and I'm walking, I'm not sure how far it is. Maybe it's a kilometer. So we're just headed there right now. It's early in the morning. It's a nice day. It's probably 75 degrees in Ephesus. And we're going for it today. We're going to start looking at some of the biblical sites, get a feel for things, and maybe walk in the footsteps of giants. Pretty excited for that. So people are doing their morning chores, getting ready for the day. So this looks to be a little mosque tower here on the way en route. So I'm not sure what to really expect walking here. From the pictures, it looks like it's going to be kind of a barren ruin site leading right up to the next place, which is the castle. And so that's kind of what I'm expecting to see. And which road leads there from here? I guess we're going to find that out. All right, that's not a road, that's some stairs. So look to be the next left, and that's where I'm headed. Some kind of must be for the nearby mosque, a wash station. So Ephesus and the really old site, the Church of St. John and the castle, some of these places are a little bit spread out. So when you see the old Roman stadium that seats 25,000 people, that kind of makes sense. So it must have been a spread out town back in the day. It couldn't have been just located in that one site with the ancient ruins. It had to be spread out to accommodate that many people. So these are the little grocery stores here, the Selcuk. It's almost like a bigger 7-Eleven. It's like a bigger 7-Eleven with groceries. All right, here we are, right here. I believe this is it. Wow. This was an aqueduct right here, this spot. Byzantine aqueduct. So it shows the route that the aqueduct ran. Pretty amazing stuff. Oh, we get to walk some old ancient stairs. That's outstanding. Let's do that. We can go down in here. Very cool. A lot of times they don't let you go into these places, but here you can get right to the stairs. Pretty excited about that. Oh, look at these old stairs. Think of how many sandals walk down these stairs. So knowing me, I gotta touch this pillar. I gotta see what that feels like. Gotta see how it's notched out here. That took a lot of work to make this symmetrical all the way around here. And to make your lines just right, that was not an easy task. There was no do-over in this marble. You had to know what you're doing when you're hitting your point. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Touch something that was made maybe 1,800, 2,000 years ago. That's pretty incredible. I'm not sure what this... Oh, this might have been for like a candle. Probably a recessed pocket for a candle to sit in here so you could see. The building was dark and it was only candlelit back then. Or it had an oil lamp. So I'm imagining that's what that was. I don't know what these little places are here. Now there's no sign right here, so I'm not sure what building this exactly is. I don't think it's the Church of St. John because they would have had signs everywhere. I think it's the next building up. But look at the arches. I mean, they really had the arch figured out back in the day. And the concrete, look at how good the concrete is still. It's perfect. There's nothing falling apart in the arch. There's a few cracks, probably from a few earthquakes. But look at how much that's held together. The Romans just figured out concrete. They had it going on. So look at a little zoom on this artwork on here. You can see how intricate that is. Look at that. That's amazing. With the tools, the crude tools they had to work with back then, that's a work of art. Just that one top cap on that. It's amazing. Man, if these floors could talk, things that they would tell. So I wonder what this building here was. There really isn't any sign right here. And why they have columns in the center of it. Unless somebody changed this at some point and put the columns here to protect them. Or it maybe held up a roof. You know, there's just... I'll have to research this building and figure out what this was. It's just amazing to step back into time. I could just sit here for hours. So you see this piece here and you wonder, why is this broken? What happened here? You can see how easy that is to rock it. Doesn't take much. So just the weight of these columns, without being anchored to anything, held up the roofs. They're freestanding. I don't know if there's a pin in the middle or if they're completely freestanding just by weight. It's pretty amazing stuff. And to think they made their own plaster to make their walls semi-smooth. They weren't perfectly smooth, but they were fairly smooth. And you could feel the roughness of it. It's not like they took a board and smoothed it out. But, you know, probably had a trowel. And they did pretty good for what it was. And they weren't into absolute perfection back then for their buildings. They just wanted it to be strong and to last. So it's interesting. Look at how the stair pieces were laid up into the steps like that. Really interesting. Man, if these floors could talk, things that they would tell. So I wonder what this building here was. There really isn't any sign right here. And why they have columns in the center of it. Unless somebody changed this at some point and put the columns here to protect them. Or it maybe held up a roof. You know, there's just... I'll have to research this building and figure out what this was. Just amazing to step back into time. I could just sit here for hours. So you see this piece here and you wonder, why is this broken? What happened here? You can see how easy that is to rock it. Doesn't take much. So just the weight of these columns, without being anchored to anything, held up the roofs. they're freestanding. I don't know if there's a pin in the middle or if they're completely freestanding just by weight. It's pretty amazing stuff. And to think they made their own plaster to make their walls semi-smooth. They weren't perfectly smooth, but they were fairly smooth. And you could feel the roughness of it. It's not like they took a board and smoothed it out. But, you know, probably had a trowel. And they did pretty good for what it was. And they weren't into absolute perfection back then for their buildings. They just wanted it to be strong and to last. So it's interesting. Look at how the stair pieces were laid up into the steps like that. Really interesting. So if you look here, the plaster did come off over the years, and it looks like it was plastered multiple times. But the integrity of the original blockwork, look at how solid that is still. It's perfect. There's no voids, there's nothing falling apart. It could last another 1,000 years. So the plaster just kept the rain out of it, kept things from freezing. It's just incredible. And it's interesting, looks like they used maybe recycled pieces here. Pieces maybe from some old tiles, some roof tiles, or some type of a street. And the rest were just rough rock that they picked off the ground and maybe kind of hammer chiseled some of the faces off to make it flush before the plaster. Pretty amazing stuff. So there are some curious notches. Like this has a notch. It's about 5 foot up. And then there's another notch, about another 4 foot up. So these pillars are probably 12 foot tall, my guess, from here. So these notches kind of baffle me. I wonder what they supported. So I'll report back once I find out what this was. It seems to have a dirt floor. I can't detect a different floor. But just these step pieces, how much work that must have been to move these pieces around. Get them to pre-fit to fit this. All right, so I'm gonna give you one kind of a rough wide shot of this location I'm at right here. So this must be part of the aqueduct. What's left of the foundation stones. Now this must be the Church of St. John coming up the hill here. I'm gonna ask what that building was when I get up here. Wow, you had a good vantage up here. You can see the hills all the way around as they start to kind of climb uphill here. So we had a great vantage point from up here. All right, so we're coming up to this. Look at that. That's quite a big church. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's great they're putting it back together. That's awesome. It's like a big Lego set, huh? Where does this piece go? I don't know. Where do you think it goes? Let's try here. Oh, that looks good. Let's put it right there. All right, looks like we made it. Gate of Persecution. The main gate, called Gate of Persecution in the south, has remained to be the most intact entrance among the entrances. The Gate of Persecution has square planned towers on both sides and an arched entrance at the center. The upper section of the arch contains a sarcophagus surface with reliefs of Euros. Besides this, there were other reliefs in the 1800s about persecution scene of Hector and Achilles. Reliefs were removed to England in 1812 and on show Woburn Abbey Gallery. European travelers who saw these reliefs and comment them wrongly as the Ephesus Life of St. Paulus and named them the gate as Gate of Persecution. These are dimmed frescoes. There are dimmed frescoes at the upper part of the arch at Gate of Persecution. There are 3 medallions in the curly branch along the upper part of arch. There are possibly prophet and saint depictions in these aerials fields. There are also 2 rectangular fields sides of this frame. At these fields, these figures seeking west and east, aerials, saints who are standing are lined up on each side. Jesus on the middle, and his 7 apostles are depicted in aerials, frescoes, and can be dated later than 8th century. Amazing stuff. Sorry, we're on a hill here. They put this sign on a big hill. All right. Cool. Cool stuff, you guys. Here's another sign. Castle and Monument of St. John. Interesting. Let's check this out. Look at these rough-hewn stones. Amazing. Just amazing. Boy, they weren't able to make all these flats, so you knew that you needed to watch how you were walking when you were walking back in the day. So let's get a look at this place. So I'm going to zoom in here. Let's get some of these details. Let's get a good look at what's going on here. All right, so there looks to be some figures at the very top there. So we can go even farther. Let's zoom that dude right in. So I'm on full zoom, so if it gets a little shaky, you'll know why. All right, let's go out. Let's get a rough shot of this place. All right. So it's good they're preserving what's here, because if they don't, it's just going to get worse. So time will erode what is here. The stone should cry out, huh? Wow, here's some little pieces here. Amazing. So being that I worked with my hands my whole life, I gotta feel what's been done. So this looks to be a marble. I thought it was a sandstone, but appears to be more of a marble. This held some kind of an erect statue, and it had a center peg to hold something upright in it. So they use some pretty big pieces of marble. Let's kind of poke down here and see what's down here. It's on the hillside here. See the side wall they're building up. Check this dude out. Let's go inside. Let's see what we got. Hello, sir. How are you today? Good, good. Just another old building, right? Joke. See, they got some big doors they made. Yeah, this is a pretty special building right here. This is a special building. All right, I see some numbers here. I'm not sure what that means. Roman numerals, or if it was a name of some sort. Not sure. We got a modern gate in here. We gotta figure it out. So looks like this is where we pay. All right, there he is. How are you today?
Thank you.
So how much today?
Ticket 25.
25 lira? Okay. All right, so we're just on the other side of the gate right now, and you can see the back side of it. So it looks like on the other side of the gate, they're mostly just putting in mortar, maybe filling it with what is already here. So I'm glad to see it's still mostly intact to the original church. This was a big church. This was a big church back in the day. So I'm gonna zoom in and get a side of the map here real quick. All right, guys, here we go. So anytime you get like a card, usually just stick it on top here, I think. Do I, put it inside? Oh, this one we go inside, okay. Ah, okay. It's a little different. I was trying to show you how to do it and I wasn't even sure. Ah, okay. Ah, okay, thank you. All right, guys. You're in. Wow. So this was a gate. I don't know if this was the church yet. We're gonna figure this out. So I kind of want to walk up these stairs here. Kind of get a feel for this. So if you can imagine, these rocks that were cut were never completely smooth, and they had to be smoothed out a lot from people walking on them. So it must have been even rougher back in the day. So here's the church. Okay. So they're restoring something here too. Not entirely sure. Looks like it's off limits. Let's get a look at what this is. Let's see if we can go in here. No, can't get in there. So could this have been a house? I'll put my hand here. Who else put their hand here? Leaning against here, huh? I gotta touch everything. That's just how I am. Some people don't like that. But you know what? When you get a chance to touch something that's thousands of years old, you gotta do it. You just gotta do it. That's just how that works. That's the fun for me, connecting to the past. If you're just gonna look at it and walk past it, yeah, okay. But me, we gotta touch it. We gotta feel how real that was. And to think, somebody might have walked up, put their hand right there, rested on there while they drank their coffee, sitting in their sandals, talking to St. John about all the problems they had that day. And John listened intently, and they went on their way. They went of their own accord. So they hopped in their Honda Accords, and they went away. Look at that. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Looks to be some kind of a jar. Could that have had olive oil? Could have been some kind of a cleansing station. Hard to say. Could it have been a toilet? It could have been anything, right? Oh, look at that. Some old chairs. Some benches. So we got to sit here, right? We're going to sit on the bench. Get a perspective here. All right. So here's where we're sitting. So we're sitting right here, sitting on this bench. You know, your church would have been to your right, and then all this valley would have been ahead of you. This dry valley that you would have been able to see. What a great place for a church up here on this corner. Really perfect spot. So let's go to it, guys. Let's go into the ruins. Boy, this was a big deal here. This was a real big deal. Whether it was added on years and years, it's hard to say. So Vern's gonna have to come up here and do some photography next. This is just for you guys here. Oh, there we go. That's got me excited. If you guys know what that says, read that for me, will you? Is it in Greek? Is it some other language? Hopefully you can read it and report back to me. I'd be curious to know what that says. There's some more words here too. Are they tombs? Is this a burial area? There's some more here. So usually with the old churches, there's usually some kind of a burial area. Oh, look at this one. Look at this stone here. Look at how much is on this one. Now this is where I wish I knew another language. I gotta know what this is too. That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna go real slow on it. It's hard to see in the sunlight. I'm not even sure if I'm getting the whole thing. So I apologize if I'm not. Let me try one more time backing it up. Yeah, it's really bright sunlight here. All right. So we're gonna just do an overview shot here real quick. Give you an idea where we're at. Very, very cool. Oh, look at the crosses on the top of these things. I'm digging that. That's tying me into something I can relate to now. Look at that. Now, is that a Greek cross, a Roman cross, an early Christian cross? Is it a Crusader's cross? That's what I'd like to know. How old is that cross? And from what period? This one doesn't have it. And what were these buildings, right? So I'm going to have to narrate a little later on this and figure out what all this was. So the columns looks like they had a center peg in them to keep them from rocking and rolling. That's what I was wondering. So at the base they would have had a peg. And that kind of kept everything from jiggling around if there was an earthquake. Now it makes you wonder, was it a war? Was it a siege? Was it somebody on their chariot that ran into that? Makes you wonder, right? Oh, look at this. Some old work here on these stones. Now these look like they were tops to some kind of a crypt. Boy, I'd love to excavate in here and dig around and see what's here. This would be awesome. So much history here. Wow, look at that. So this area is close for renovation. Let's see if we can do a little zoom in here, see if we find anything that's worthy of looking at. Yeah, where do you start? You know, you got pieces laying all over, layers on layers. And there's some kind of a writing on this piece here. Was this where Bill Jacobson lived? Or Adolphus? I'm trying to think of some Roman names I don't know offhand. What was this? Was this their cemetery? Were these little crypts? Were these houses? Were these people's houses for the church? Makes you wonder. What an awesome location, though. You can see the hills in the distance. Really cool. Really cool place. Got a good vibe up here. It's got a really good vibe. Let's stand here and have a look inside here. Well, there's still a lot going on that they haven't done much with here yet. A lot of pieces just laying around. You know, what it took to destroy some of these buildings too, right? When there were wars and conquerings, people that were in disrepute. So I want to know if that was an oven or a shrine, where it's kind of cut away into the brickwork there. And there's another little archway going back there. Cool stuff, you guys. See some things that are so old. So there's always some little curious pockets in some of these things. Like here, is that from a bird? Is it from a chisel mark? Did they need to put a gate pin in there to hold the gate shut? Do they have several gates? I don't know. And then this rock here, you can kind of see how it was rough cut. They just kind of grooved grooves in here to take the material away to make it flat. And the amount of weight that those things weighed, right? Back in the day. Oofta. So I'd imagine this started out as a small church and then got added on very quickly. Ah, more crosses. Another one up there. This is a different pillar. The other one is kind of plain. And then the one all the way to the end has some other kind of a insignia. I'm not sure what that wheel meant. It must have meant something at the time. Now when I feel these columns here, being an auto body guy, they're roughly uniform and they feel really sandblasted. Like the sand has blasted these over time. But they're fairly smooth. They're a lot smoother than I would have been able to get them. And it feels like these are almost of a sandstone nature. There again, there's some little pockets. They had a purpose. I'm not sure what though. Lost to time. All right. Well, you can look inside somebody's doorway there. Yeah, imagine that was pretty nice in the time. Just like this sidewall, it looks to be pretty good shape. I'm sure the rest of this was looking just as nice back in the day. They did pretty high quality work. If you look at this block work, this is really level. They really did good masonry work back in the day. Yeah, they were craftsmen. That's for damn sure. They were definitely craftsmen. These nicely hewn out stairs. Oh, that's kind of interesting. That's just kind of like a little doorway gate thing there. I'm not sure what that was for. Maybe there was a window up above it. See some stairs going up. Very cool. Very cool. So some of these buildings could have been food storage, water storage. Look at this big chunk that came rolling down. What on earth was that for? Was it the top of this? I got pushed over? I don't know. Whatever it was, it took a lot of work to get that falling down. More pillars. And it makes you wonder, you have a pillar that's like broken off there. What did it take to break that off? They drop another pillar on top of it? I don't know. It took a lot of work to break that, whatever they did. Maybe in some pillaging or war back in the day. Oh, this is an important area here. See how it's arched here? This could be the inside of a church right here. This could be the altar and the stairs going up. There's something important here. And it was designed like this to get an echo behind. Oh, look at that. What was done here? I don't know. These look to have sat above it, or could have been a stage here. These could have been part of a stage. These pieces that are sitting here. I'm thinking they were a marble stage of some sort. Yeah, see how it's kind of curving right here? I bet this whole thing was the stage, and it filled up this ground, and it went by this altar, and that's why you needed the stairs to go up to the stage. Can you see it? See these pieces here that are curved? This was the stage. You can see some of them are still curved. It followed this arch. Interesting. Yeah, this was an important area right in here.
Hey, Vern.